Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to Temple Bethel Salinas Shabbat service for tonight, Parashat Korach, and we're broadcasting from our temple in Salinas, California. We'll start tonight's service with an opening song, Ma Yafeh Hayom, which is found on page 10. And we can all join in and sing together. And we're working from the Shabbat service book tonight, right? Shabbat, yeah. That's good. Somebody just came.
Somebody had a key.
They had a key, yeah. There we go. So we have our opening song, Ma Yafeh Hayom, found on page 10. Let me make sure I'm turned to the right page. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. 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 Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. And I'd like to ask Nancy and Makita to do our candle lighting for tonight. It's found on page 2 and 3.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu v'hadlik shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. And we continue with Mizmor Shir on page 22. And please join as we sing Mizmor Shir. Mizmor Shir liyom haShabbat, tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulzamer leshimcha elyon, ulzamer leshimcha elyon. Mizmor Shir liyom haShabbat, kol lehodot Adonai, ulzamer leshimcha elyon, ulzamer leshimcha elyon. Lehagid baboker chastecha, emunatcha halelot, hale asor, hale navel, hale yigayon, vechinor. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai, uzamer leshimcha elyon, uzamer leshimcha elyon, ki simachtani Adonai befanech lecha, ma'aseh yadecha arenaim, ma gadlu ma'asecha Adonai, meod amku machashovotecha. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot l'Adonai, uzameh leshimcha elyon, uzameh leshimcha elyon, uzameh leshimcha elyon. And we continue with the Kabbalat Shabbat with Lecha Dodi found on page 20. So turn back. And tonight we'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And we'll rise to face the back of the sanctuary for Bo'if Shalom. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dur echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, L'shem ultiferet l'tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Hi mekor habracha, Meherosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh v'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, Hiva orech umi uri, uri shir daberi, Kevod Adonai alayich negla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. And please rise. Verse 9. Bo'if v'shalom ateret bala, Gam v'simcha u'v'tzola, Toch emunei am segula, Bo'if kala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Please be seated. For Shalom Aleichem, would join together on page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And we turn to page 26 and rise for the Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah ve'amad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael b'hagala uv'izman kariv v'imeru amen. Yeheshme Rabba Mevorach, Leolam Leome Omaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yipar v'yiromam v'yinaseh, v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal, Shemei Kudesha Richu, Leila min kol berchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, v'yimeru amen. Please remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. Please be seated. And please join on page 30 in the Hebrew at the top of the page, Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim b'chochma poteach she'arim u'v'timuna v'shanei itim u'machalif et hazmanim u'mesader et hakochavim b'mishmerotechem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or u'mavir yom u'mevi layla u'mavdil bein yom u'vein layla Adonai tzvaot shemo El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening twilight.
What page again?
I'm sorry,
I missed the page then.
I didn't say the page. So we continue with Ahavat Olam, joined in the singing of Ahavat Ahavat Olam on page 32. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Avta, Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadata, Al Kain Adonai Eloheinu v'shachbenu, V'kumenu nasiach bechukecha, V'nismach v'divrei Toratecha, U'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Vihem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, ve'avatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael. As we turn to page 34, please rise for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. And the Ahavta is found at the top of page 36. Please join in. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alvavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha ha'vavetecha u'v'lechtecha ha'vaderech u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam leot ha'yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvihi she'arecha leman tizkiru ve'asitem et kol mitzvotai item kedoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem meretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. And Howard, would you like to, on page 41, 40 or 41, would like to do a short English reading before we do the Mi Kamocha?
Yeah, read 41.
Yeah.
Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, and the earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, a song of the land, of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, for soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Thank you. And please join in the Mi Kamocha found at the top of page 40. Mi Kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Kamocha nedar ba'kodesh, No ra tehilot hosefela, no ra tehilot hosefela. Malchutecha rahuvanecha, bokei ayam, lifne Moshe u'Miriam, zelianu ve'amaru, Adonai yimloch, Adonai yimloch, le'olam va'ed. V'nemar kifada Adonai, et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael. And we turn to page 46 and rise for the tefillah, the Amidah. So we all join together. Adonai sefer tiftachu fi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekoneh HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imaot, U'mevi Gula Livnei V'nehem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Solmech Noflim Verufech Oholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Givurot, Umido Mehalach, Melech Memid, Umekayeh, Umatzniach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot ha'kol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh ha'kol. Atah kadosh v'shkimcha kadosh, uv'kadoshim b'chol yom, Yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Please continue silently to page 60, and you may be seated when you're done. And we turn to page 61, and we can read together in the English at the top of 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message. Bless our country from safeguard of peace and to advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul. May the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. Amen. And that brings us to our Torah service, which I will turn over. Well, we probably just, we don't have enough people to do a full Torah service. Yeah. Yeah. So Nancy's prepared tonight's parsha from parsha Korach, about rebellion. And she also has a dafar she's going to share with us. And then we'll slip the Yishabeh on.
Okay, it's at number 16, 1 through 5. In the Plout, it's 1127. And the Women's Torah Commentary is 895. 1127 and 895. Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhar, ben Kahat, ben Levi, v'dachtan v'aviram, b'nei Eliav, v'on ben Pelet, b'nei Ruvain. V'yakumu lifnei Moshe v'ad nashim mibnei Yisrael chamishim u'matayim nisi'ei edah Kuri'ei Moed on Sheshem. Vayikahalu al Moshe v'al Aharon vayomru alaha. Rav lachem ki kol ha'edah kulam kadoshim. Uv tocham Adonai madua titnasu al kahal Adonai. Vayishma Moshe vayipol al panav, vayidaber el Korach ve'el kol adato lemor boker vayoda Adonai et asher lo ve'et ha-kadosh vahikriv elav ve'et asher yivchar bo yakriv elav. That's as far as I went. Yeah, I guess I'll be lazy and read the English. If I was reading from the Torah, I have to think harder. Okay, now Korach, the son of Yisachar, son of Kohat, son of Levi, took himself along with Datan and Aviram, sons of Eliab, and On, son of Pelet, descendants of Reuben, to rise up against Moses, together with 250 representatives of the Israelites. Some of these words are different than I learned. Chieftains of the community, chosen in the assembly with fine reputations. They combined against Moses and Aaron and said to them, "You've gone too far." That's not what it says. Okay. But it's close. For all the community are holy, all of them, and Adonai is in their midst. Why then do you raise yourself above Adonai's congregation? When Moses heard this, he fell on his face. That's literal. Then he spoke to Korach and all his company, saying, "In the morning Adonai will make known who is God's and who is holy, and will grant him direct access, doesn't say that either. The one who God has chosen will be granted access. Actually, it says will draw near. He will draw near, that's what it says in the Hebrew. You know, when I translate myself, it tends to be very literal, and sometimes doesn't quite make as much sense. So, Korach is one of those passages where there's a lot of different interpretations. Why was Korach and his band challenging Moses? And some say, well, it was, jealousy, quite possible, because Moses seemed to have all the, authority. It was, okay, wait a minute. Let me find my spot. The book has some reminders for me here. Okay, what my book that I've got here says, okay, wait a minute, backtrack. I didn't write this up. I don't know if you know what comes after this part of the story. Okay, God punishes Korach and his whole band with an earthquake and swallows them up. Anyways, they're all dead. And so some people think that was a lot of, overdoing it. So the point that they tried to make here in what I was reading was, it was very important out here in the wilderness that the people were together. That how are they going to survive under all these circumstances if they were always fighting with each other or just not getting along? And so, according to that, God just eliminated all the people who were causing trouble. Here's something I'm going to read a little bit. When the early Kabbalists compared the Jewish people to the Sefer Torah, they understood that the Torah had no holiness unless all of its letters were complete and whole. Similar was their attitude towards the Jewish people. It maintained its strength only when it was complete and whole. Otherwise, it was prone to suffocation from within. And that was the point I was trying to make there. A rose, writes William Shakespeare, by any other name smells just as sweet. Not so in Judaism. It gives great significance to each name as defining one's persona. Korach is an uncommon name, appearing only once in the entire Torah, and it's derived from two basic root letters that spell out the Hebrew word for cold, which is kar, implying that by separating himself from the community, Korach, the k and the was an aloof, coldly detached, and chillingly distant Jew. In modern Hebrew, a korchon is an ice pop. So the word for an ice pop, which is what we call popsicle, comes from the name of Korach. That's sort of interesting. Okay, I have a couple of goodies here. I'm trying to figure which ones I was going to do. So this little story that was, I don't know, it's supposed to have something to do with Korah. Baruch suddenly feels a man's hand in his pocket as he strolls through a Jerusalem alley. Hey, what do you want? A match? Well, why didn't you ask me? I don't talk to strangers. Yeah, okay. Not as funny as some. The other one I have marked, I've done before. Actually, I have something for you if it applies to last week. We had the scouts or the spies. This one's funnier. One day, Beryl decides to apply for a job as a spy, and during his interview is asked to take an envelope up to the 4th floor of CIA headquarters. As soon as he's alone, the curious Beryl steps into an empty hallway, opens the packet, and reads. This is what it says. Mazel tov, you're our kind of guy. Report to the 5th floor. He passed the test. Anyway, that was all I had, really. Should we do Mr. Bishop Bayrock, and I'll do the regular announcements?
Sure. Thank you. Misha Bayrock, as we've been singing together, is found on 253 in the middle of the page. Misha Bayroch avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Beirach imotenu mekor abracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. That's what?
You've got names.
Names of what?
Ask for names for Bishop.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, they know who they are, right? Yeah. The usual suspects.
Okay.
Does anybody want to mention a name for the Misha?
Nancy Walker and Derek Johnson.
Okay,
Adele Warner.
okay. Right, and announcements?
Yeah.
Ready? Okay.
The first announcement is the cantor's not here. No, I hope she's having a good time in Greece. It's found a nice synagogue. Thank you to Jeff for leading all the songs. That's my least favorite thing, since I can't carry a tune. Next week, Brian will be here to help lead services, and Rick will be here to play piano, so we'll have even more music. And then the cantor will be back the next week.
What time is the service next week?
Set you 7 o'clock, regular time. Okay, yeah, next Friday is the 30th, the last day of June. Coming up, we have July, we have the almost a gala. Anyway, watch your Chronicle. The Chronicle's going to have all the goodies in it. And you're saving Labor Day weekend, Sunday, for the ice cream social with the antique cars, classic cars. Antique, yeah, no, they're antique. And then we're going to have a cleanup day on the last Sunday in August, getting ready for the holidays, and we're going to, clean up the pews and the various things that we don't always use every week, plus some we do. Those are basically the things coming up. I think of anything else?
Lunch and learn.
Oh, the lunch and learn is this week on Wednesday, and it's called What's on the Menu? And I forgot the second thing it says. I was going to remember. Something like, what are you having dinner and do I care? But anyway, it's general food topics. Doesn't have to be all Jewish stuff. Just something to roll around with. We always have fun, no matter what the topic is. And if we still stay on topic, that's okay too. So that's at 12:30 on Wednesday, on Zoom. So if you don't have the link, I hope we'll be able to get it going. Anyway, let me know if you need a link. We'll probably find an old one to use. I think that's about it. Can't think of anything. Okay. Thank me for the owning.
Thank you for the owning.
What was the date of the gala, the almost gala?
That gala is July 16? I think it's the 16th. Anyway, it is a Sunday afternoon. Your Chronicle should be out, well, maybe at the end of next week.
Right. More details.
If you have anything to put in the Chronicle, get it to Susie as soon as possible. She got back from her little short vacation today, trying to catch up. So we're going to
I've got it.
go with the Elena.
And our next Ivy Park Shabbat morning service is on July 8th. So it won't be on it'll be the second Saturday this coming month. It'll be on July 8th. Starts right at 10 o'clock at Ivy Park. Cantor will be back by then, and so she'll be leading that. So the concluding part of our service, as we open the Ark, please rise for the Aleinu, which is on 282. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, la'teker la'leotzer breshit, shelo asanu higoye ha'ratzot, velo samanu kimishbechot ha'adamah, shelo samchalkeinu kahem, v'gohor aleinu kechol ha'monam, ve'anachnu korim, u'ishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei halachim, hakadosh baruch hu, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, l'melech al kol ha'aretz, v'yomahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Please be seated. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision or grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death all reveal a divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under God's protection we abide, and by God's love we are comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirits with abiding trust in you. Tonight, we observe the yard sites for this week of Jack Grossman, Lucille Cohn, Eli Gordon, Eileen Greenfield, and Ella Cohen Krull. And if we're remembering anyone else tonight, so I just want to mention the name of a cousin of ours who just passed away this week in Texas, Josephine Rocher. The Kaddish is found on page 294. We could rise to recite Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Amen. Ve'alma divrach yirutev v'imlich malchuteh v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael v'agala v'zman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach u'v'olam omei omayam Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal Shmei Dekudesha Barichu Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi Shlomo Rabbah min Shemayim v'chayim aleinu le'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. Be seated. And we'll be turning back to page 62 for our closing song. So, Oseh Shalom. We can never have enough peace in this world. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Imru. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks to everyone who came tonight and for Nancy, who helped prepare tonight's service and provide the oneg. And please join us in the social hall as I